The Meter Box. A familiar product to this channel is back with a new lid that finally offers a solution for home miners using a standard 125-volt outlet to measure their power usage in real time. It's available now on their website. Use the link in the description for a discount off your next order. Because of the new lid, they're now running their biggest giveaway yet for the entire month of July, giving away over $7,000 worth of prizes like an iPolo V1 Mini Classic Plus, a 3600-watt X12 octo miner, tons of meter boxes, limited edition NFTs, and a bunch of stuff from GPUrisers.com. Check out their new meter box and enter this amazing giveaway, no purchase necessary. You may also purchase items for additional entries and even better chances to win. The meter box contest is worldwide, extending through the entire month and ending on July 31st. Winners will be announced publicly on August 5th.
What is going on, miners, and welcome back to the Hobbyist Miner channel. Well, we are back at it again with the Mining Roundtable, and this week we have a guest. Please welcome the Mining King. What's going on?
Hey, what's going on, Hobbyist? Thank you guys so much for having me here. Really honored to be a part of the show.
Awesome. Well, thank you for joining us. And as always, we have ChumpChange. How are you?
Good. How are you, buddy?
Doing good. So guys, we're back at it with the Mining Roundtable. If you're checking this out for the very first time, as we haven't done one of these on my channel, at least for quite some time, this is an open, casual style conversation with a handful of guys just chatting about what we enjoy the most, which is mining and cryptocurrency. So sometimes we'll go down a rabbit hole, hang with us, and we'll reel it back in. But yes, very casual and should be a good time. So let's kind of learn a little bit about this random guest we have this week, filling in for Red Fox Crypto. We have the Mining King. So Mining King, you're not only a content creator, you're also a miner. Give us a rundown of your farm. Hash rates, what you're mining, you know, kind of give us the bio.
So my farm is about, I would say, right around 2 gigahash right now, if I was all on Ethereum. Now, I don't have everything on Ethereum, as well as I did recently have a lot of my farm moved to be hosted, but I don't plan on going back to Ethereum.
Okay, very cool. And let's talk about the cards themselves. So what type of cards are you traditionally running in your farm? Are you more AMD? Are you NVIDIA? Kind of what are you at?
You know, actually, I am kind of more of I am an AMD guy, but actually I split my farm up 50-50 right down the middle because I feel like, you know, I like Flux, which actually performs a lot better with NVIDIA cards. And then I also like, you know, my new project that I love is 𝐂𝐡𝐻𝐿, and, you know, that's on the 𝐂𝐻𝐿 algorithm, which to me is more favored to Team Red.
Got it. Yes, it absolutely is, and good to know. So outside of GPU mining rigs, anything else you're running? ASICs, helium miners, anything like that?
I do have one helium miner. It's been a rough journey to get that up and running. I've had nothing but problems with it, and actually, it's been giving me problems again lately. Awesome. And then I did a trade with Red Panda Mining, so I picked up a mini Doge miner as well.
Very nice.
And I recently ordered a iPolo, so I got the 130 mega hash version. It should actually be here Friday, so pretty excited about that.
Wow.
Oh, wow, that's pretty quick, huh?
Now, who'd you get the iPolo from that it's coming so fast?
I actually got it from Belay Mining.
Oh, must have watched a certain person's video over here, Mr. ChumpChange.
Yeah. Yeah, he saw the video and was thoroughly impressed, I guess, and he went and ordered himself one. I was like, oh, nice, man. Like, I saw someone sent an order in, but I didn't know who it was. That's pretty cool, dude. I'm happy that because I guess you get like some sort of percentage off. I don't know how that worked when you ordered actually for the code I had, but it gave me an email saying someone ordered one. I was like, oh, hell yeah, that's cool. But I mean, the thing's awesome right now. I actually have it currently running on my solar setup. I just converted it today, so I'm gonna be putting out a video tomorrow, which will be, you know, I don't know when you're dropping this video, but
Friday,
upcoming.
Or no, Saturday. This will be Saturday. Yeah.
All right, so upcoming. Yeah, it might have been yesterday then that I dropped the video, but it's pretty neat.
Very nice. Very cool. So yeah, we'll jump over to you, ChumpChange. Kind of what's been new with you. It sounds like you got some equipment up and running since the last episode we had, which was you had nothing running.
Yeah. So now I have, I mean, I have the Jazz miner up and running, and then I have the iPolo, which is or was running on just 240 volts in the crypto mining trailer. I still have actually the Octominers is supposed to be coming tomorrow, the 5 that I had on order. So yeah, it's only been like 2 months, but they're coming. So I got a bunch of cards prepped to go into those. I don't know if I'll be turning them on right away, but either way, I did take the iPole, like I said, put it into the solar setup so I could kind of get some sort of free electricity, only because my solar setup is only for 120 volts. And I was going to run the Jazz miner, but you can't because it needs 240. So that's where I was kind of at a little bit of a standstill when I was like, you know, what do I run off my solar if everything's off? And I couldn't really run an entire rig. So I had to choose something small. It was either going to be a Doge miner, but then the iPolo showed up and only 300 watts. So why not?
Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. I don't think I had asked originally, King, or let people know. You had mentioned about going to hosting, like that a lot of your stuff was going to hosting. Do you want to kind of give us the rundown as to why you've selected to go to hosting and what was kind of the driving factor?
Yeah, so actually, my video will be dropping on Friday. I'm doing a video on when should you host or maybe consider hosting. And for me, in my, my position right now is I'm in an HOA. I bought the house before I was a miner. So hindsight, 2020, but it's, for me, it was heat as well as expandability, power at my house. I mean, I do have some very large ambitions. I am pretty much going to be trying to go commercial probably within the next 2 to 3 years. So for me, mining in my garage, it just didn't make sense. I already threw so much money at that mining tent, all the ductwork, the fans, getting 240 in there.
Sound like ChumpChange
it was like $2,500 in it. And how much more money am I going to spend to get the same cooling solution for what I already have? It just when do you quit throwing money at it and look for a better solution? In my opinion.
Nice. No, that's exciting. I think right now hosting is a big deal. A lot of people within the scene that we know of are moving to hosting, or trying to find an alternative versus leaving machines off. Because the hard part is the fact that either we know people that have better electric rates, which is, it's so crazy to think, like, people that we talk to every day have these great electric rates, and then there's other people like ChumpChange, a great example, where like electric rates are insane. And it's like, wait, we're in the same country, and yet we're still all struggling. Like, it's just, it's nuts to sound like it. And then I've even been chatting with a few like hosting companies as well. Not that I'm moving to it, just learning more and more about their business models and stuff. Yeah, it's just crazy to think that like that's the way we're pivoting now, which I don't even know. It'd be a great question for like Vitsby Trippin or Red Panda Mining, or people that mined during the last bear market. Like, was GPU hosting even an option back then? Like, was this even an option then versus now in that popularity, which is great. So is your almost entire farm hosted or will be hosted?
So about 75%. I kept about 3 rigs back at my house, which are, they don't produce a lot of heat, because they're actually in my house. They're not, I don't have anything in the garage anymore. So I have a 6-card 6600 rig. I have the 6 Red Devils I got from Panda that I did a trade with him on. And then I also have 3 1660 Supers and an A2000. So it's not a complete rig yet. I got a couple more cards to get for that. But I am going to keep some stuff at home. I may also... I have another house I could put maybe another rig or 2 at, but yeah, as far as for me, I live in Arizona, so the heat out here is just brutal. It's like the summer from like the start of June to like October is like 100 degrees every day, guaranteed, no matter what. It's been like 100 and it's been 110 like 5 days in a row. So I mean, it's just really hard to battle that much heat, and to be able to battle the heat, you need that much airflow going over your cards, and I'm not able to do it in at my current house right now.
Yeah, that's something I've been keeping an eye on. I'll be doing the intake and exhaust on my shed tomorrow for me, which will be Friday. So I'm actually going to start cutting the shed up now, installing all my vents and my exhaust, and that's like my biggest thing in my mind. Like, you know, like getting enough airflow through there. And I think I'll be pretty good. I ended up with a total of 9 of those gable vents that ChumpChange had recommended. So that's it's gonna be a lot of that wall. I mean, if I double those, if I were to put 18, there would be no wall left. It would just be gable vents. Like
right. It does it will help a lot, because like the crypto mining garage, when I had that, just the 9 vents, it was extraordinary how much air actually came in that wall. You know what I mean? You could physically feel it blowing, just insane. So
yeah, that's kind of my goal. My goal, especially then having my exhaust fans, the shutter fans I'm putting in, the 4 16-inch exhaust fans. I have no expectation to run them on high, like max, like, because that would be 10,000 CFM in a 6-foot by 8-foot area. Like,
they rip.
It would be insane. So my goal is to my goal is, in an ideal utopia, is like keeping them on like mid, or somewhere between low and mid, and then like winter time, it's going to be like just on low, just to like keep things like just air flowing through there. So yeah, I'm excited for it. That's kind of the next thing on the list, is getting those installed, and then I'm going to run the electrical inside the shed. I have electrical running to it, that's done, but then running electrical around everything. So I wanted to get all the intake and exhaust done first, and then be like, okay, now I'll run the electrical, because I hate to run electrical first, and then you're like, I want to put an exhaust fan here, and now I have a piece of wire. So yeah, so that's kind of direction I'm moving right now. That's kind of my world, is just like the shed. Everything's about the shed at this point. And I'm trying to drop 1 video a week on the shed. I'm ahead of the game. Like, I'm like, all right, cool. So next week I'll be doing a video on the electrical I ran, and just kind of keeping things moving, you know, content wise, and also the project as well. So
now, what are you going to put in there first? Because you have like you have ASICs and you have GPUs. What's your plan first?
So the ASIC definitely is going to go in there, because that's my Bitcoin miner. So that's probably going to be the first thing, because that I'm not going to put on my rack in the middle. So looking into my shed, the rack's going to be straight down the middle, but then on the far side of that rack will be my kind of Frankenstein piping setup for that ASIC. So it's going to have its own dedicated intake and exhaust. So it's going to be
you're actually going to pipe it physically in
so it's going to come through a hooded intake. It's going to go into 8-inch, which is 8-inch at a ductwork, into I have an AC Infinity intake filter box. Then it's going to go into an AC Infinity 8-inch inline fan, so it's sucking in air, and it's blowing it straight into the ASIC, and it's going to attach to my soundproofing box. So it's all self-enclosed, the entire thing. Then on the exhaust side, it's going to come out of the soundproofing box into an 8-inch AC Infinity fan, and exhausting it right out the thing. So it's never the air is never going to touch inside the shed.
So what do you have for a soundproofing box? Is it one of those coolers like Panda's got, or
no? This is actually it's actually a box by a company called 𝐂𝐡𝐮𝐳 Consulting, and it opens up, and you slide the unit in, and then it goes over top, and it's fully soundproofed inside, and then it's metal mesh on the sides, and then there's these 3D printed, I forget the type, it's like Peter something level that can handle like high heat. And they're adapters. They're adapters
ETG or whatever.
Yeah, it attaches to the side of the box, and it takes it from the ASIC shape, like that square that of the 2 fans, and turns it into an 8-inch.
That's
so that everything can connect together. So the goal is the ASIC will have its own dedicated intake and exhaust. Sound will be soundproofed, and it'll be completely isolated from my shed, from the temperature wise.
Awesome.
Everybody I talked to was like, cram air down that ASIC and rip the air out of it as fast as you can, and it'll quiet it down a lot.
Right, yeah, the cooler you keep it, the quieter it'll be. It makes sense, because Panda said, like, I know in his video, I think it was today or yesterday, I forget, he said that his ASIC was resonating outside through the tubing, even though he had the insulated box, and he was like, it was still loud, and he has an HOA where he lives now, so
the sound where the sound ends up going is out the exhaust. So the intake, you're just getting like a suction. So the noise of the intake is actually going to be the inline fan, the AC Infinity inline fan, which isn't bad, especially when you're outside. And then the exhaust is where you're going to get like the loudest in that regard. So that's kind of what I'm thinking there. Excuse me. So it's supposed to take, once you do the whole thing, it's supposed to take it from like 80 decibels down to about 54 decibels.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
once it's completely enclosed. So yeah, so I'm excited for it. You know, the shed's kind of my world right now, which has been good. So what about you guys? What do you guys have kind of in your pipeline, I'd say, over the next like 2 weeks or so? Anything dealing with your farm, maintenance, anything like that? King, I'll throw it over to you. Kind of what's in your crosshairs over the next 2 weeks?
I actually just got a ultrasonic cleaner in. So I plan on doing some cards in the ultrasonic cleaner. I'm actually planning on buying some broken cards. I want to see if I can't. No, we're not doing Windex. I actually bought the. It's from a company called Branson.
Okay.
It was recommended to me by CryptoShape, who's a member in the Misfit mining community.
Yeah.
And he actually has one of these units. So it's for electronics, and it's made by a company called Branson. That's the only piece I'm waiting on. That's been really slow shipping. For the cleaner or for the actual machine?
The whole machine. Give us both, like if you can.
So I got the ultrasonic cleaner from Amazon. This one is about the size for good enough for one card.
Okay, so it's a lot smaller. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a 10-liter one. So that was $200.
Nice.
And then
not bad.
And then the solution is a concentrate, so you can get a lot of uses out of it and stuff like that. I think it was $40.
Wow.
So maybe $250. So to me, not pretty cheap, not that bad. I also
is there a difference between using the Windex and that solution?
Yeah, from what I know, since I've been talking to CryptoShape, because I don't have any experience myself using it. I've seen other people use it. I've seen Panda use the Windex.
I was gonna say, if people don't know, Panda used Windex, and I thought he was smarter than that. So that's why I'm asking if it was, if it's like a real bad difference.
I think he got his information from somebody that actually runs a big farm, and that's what they use.
Oh, okay.
That's what they use. That's what they use from a cost perspective. Yeah, because of the fact that like with a bigger farm, they're going through like so many cards cleaning it. Because the downside is like like with the chemical solution that you have, King, the downside is how many cards can you do with like one setup? Is it one card per? Because that's like $40 a card. Then is that what we're saying, or are you getting like 5? Like,
no. So it is a concentrate solution. I think it's like 100 milliliters per gallon.
Okay,
and it's like a quart size, bottle.
Okay.
So
and what are you mixing it with? Water?
Distilled water.
Distilled water. Got it.
Distilled water. So
very nice.
I got that. I got I'm gonna be doing some riser testing. I'm trying to work on how to test the power caps and everything like that. We'll see. I'm working on that. The equipment to use that is pretty expensive, so I'm trying to work with somebody. And then one of the other crypto tubers, Hawk, is actually sending me some 3090s to repad and repaste for him.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about that, right? He had a little issue with the what was it, Critical or something pads? I forget. Is that the name of the company? Something was wrong with them, right, or something? Like they weren't labeled, or
so he bought one of those like custom fit sets and stuff like that.
They have the pre-cut pads for the models,
right,
which I think it could be maybe a possible error on their part, because sometimes for models, right, they do revisions, and sometimes the thermal pad thicknesses and sizes, they change, right? So maybe their card was an early production and Hawks is like a later production. But from what I've seen, I think it was a size issue for the thermal pads, because his core was getting up in like the 70s after he repadded.
Right.
I don't know. It's really hard because we did a private Discord call. I couldn't really tell if maybe some of the pads were misplaced or whatever, but he's sending me the card. He's sending me, I think, like 2 3090s and a 3080 Ti.
Wow.
I might be mistaken. I think it's a couple of cards. So,
well, in his defense, he for his first card that he ever did thermal pads on, thermal paste, this guy does a 3090 Founders Edition. That card is a freaking bear to try to take apart. There is no chance.
Oh, it was a Founders Edition too?
Oh yeah.
Oh, hell no. Hell no. Just leave it. That thing can roast. I wouldn't change that for the world.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, I'm like, you have more balls than I got, man, because holy hell. But I'm proud of him for trying anyways,
Yeah,
I think it went pretty well. You know what I mean? For a first time.
Yeah.
I mean,
it did.
I should
except for,
have
like,
had him do like I still have in my farm running some like EVGA 1060 minis. They're like this big, and like literally it's 4 screws. It opens and there's nothing else to it. It's like, all right, pads, paste, you're done. So those cards you could do like within like 10 minutes. It's like those are the cards you should learn to on, because one, if you mess something up, they're not that expensive, and two, there's nothing to it. As you start to like get farther and farther into like this hobby, you start to get into some of these cards where you're like, dude, I just spent an hour taking this thing apart. Like, God knows I'm going to get this thing back together the right way. Those are some of the ones where it's just like, oh my God, what am I getting into? And as you get into the cards that look cooler or that look more sophisticated, that's exactly the case as you start to like replace pads and paste and everything like that. So, yeah, the reason I got to that, I was thinking about that, King, was with your ultrasonic cleaner. So I guess the value really for you is going to be clean the shit out of that card before you put it into the ultrasonic cleaner to kind of stretch the cleaner, right? So it doesn't turn, you know what I mean?
So some people think that the ultrasonic cleaner is like actually meant to like in Panda's video where he just like dunked it in like, you know, dirty like that. That is, so from what I understand, that's actually not how you're supposed to do it. But that's just what I've been told. I still got to mess around with it and check it out myself. But I guess its main purpose is, let's say you have a card that's like not posting, or maybe it's not working, or maybe it's giving you some troubles, right? Sometimes the grease and oil from the pads gets underneath the memory chips, you know what I mean, from them leaking, and the dirt and oil will get underneath the chip and cause it to short out, or maybe not even work at all. That's what the ultrasonic cleaner is
like a Hail
for.
Mary.
It's to clean underneath the areas that you can't clean with.
Got it.
It's not meant to like take a GPU and just dunk it in there and just leave it in there.
So you're supposed to actually clean it before you
yes you're
just
supposed to clean. You're supposed to clean it as much as you can, and then obviously once you start to notice the solution get dirty, then you have to cycle it out.
I think if I got to the point where like I had to power down my farm from electric cost or the market and stuff like that, I feel like that would be a direction I would go as a content creator and also as a miner. Was like, all right, I'm going to spend the time, I'm going to buy one of those and like spend the time, creating content, kind of like what you've done a lot, ChumpChange, like a lot of like GPU maintenance and cleaning videos. It's like, that would be the perfect stuff to do. And it's like, great, I'm going to spend the next several weeks just doing every card, stripping down to the board, going through it, replace events. Like, I feel like that's really the thing to do, to really take advantage of your time. Because if we go back like a year ago, nobody was like taking their cards offline to like clean them. It was like, unless you had to like build a rig or rebuild something, it was like, hell no, that thing is mining and making me money. So like, this is the time. I feel like I hear Bitsby Trippin say that a lot. Like during the bear market, we shut down and we work on the farm and stuff like that. I think you've done a lot of that, ChumpChange, just based off of what I've been watching, and that's probably in preparation for the Octo miners too, correct?
Yeah, so I stripped down all my my GPU fan shrouds, or the shrouds and the fans off of the GPU, so it's just like a bare heatsink and PCB. So I redo the thermal paste. The pads are usually pretty good, so I just keep those unless I have to change them, and then I just again leave it stripped, and I let the Octominer fans, 140 millimeter fans, do all the work. Because I mean, what are you buying them for? It's I'm gonna waste like my electricity rate, right? So it's just stupid high. So any little amount of wattage I can save is worth it to me. So saving 2 fans per GPU or 3 fans per GPU of electricity is huge for me. It adds up with 130 cards. You know what I mean? It's like it just
is that what you're at now?
Builds up. Yeah, it's like a little over 130, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah, good and bad. It's it's a hassle, as trying to clean them all, shutting them off.
Yep.
It's a pain, but it'll be nice once it's done, because that's I'm just taking advantage of the whole bear market right now, and the best way I can, and just trying to stay positive about it. It sucks having them off, but is what it is.
I want to my son yesterday came down for the first time and was like interested in, he's 9, interested in like what I was doing with mining stuff. He's like, hey, how can I help? And I'm like, well, I'm cleaning up, like stripping down old rigs, like pulling out fans and motherboards and PCI cables and like risers that I had in rigs that are just sitting there with no GPUs in it. So I was like, here's 4 rigs, strip this down. And he was all at it, doing it. And I'm like, man, when he's a little bit older, I'll have him like He's my little like worker. It's like, hey, I got all the. It's like, listen, I'll pay you $5 a card.
Yeah,
clean it all the way.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah. So I thought a good topic to talk about, especially today, was the fact of the current market. So there's a lot going on today. So we have the Ethereum bomb, kind of the difficulty, now coming down finally.
Yep.
And then on top of that, the same thing today, we have Bitcoin sub 20. And did Ethereum go sub 1,000 or not yet?
I haven't looked, actually.
Okay. Last I looked, it was questionable, and I was like, I wonder if it went below it today. But so based off of that, we'll talk about Ethereum first, and we'll talk about kind of the market there. Are any of you guys still on? Well, I guess not really as much as you, ChumpChange, but King, are you still on Ethereum on anything? And if you are you seeing the values? Kind of where's your mindset at, knowing that all of a sudden, profitable a little bit more now?
So probably about a week and a half ago, I moved all the way off of Ethereum.
Okay.
I am my goal, so for me, when I was building out my farm, right, I started in 2021 with one rig that had like 5 or 6 cars. It was like, I think I spent like $2,000, and I just kept rolling all my profits over. So I never held anything, right? I was always just like, okay, I need this to get this GPU and another one and another one. So towards this year, at the start of 2022, I had no crypto saved up. I didn't hodl anything. So I wanted to switch strategies. So now I saved up to 1 Ethereum. So it took me I think 2 months. And then after that, no, for me, not going back to Ethereum.
Got it.
In fact, I wish the merge was already done and over with.
Got it. No, you're not wrong. I have a few rigs left on Ethereum. Most of my NVIDIA rigs have gone over to Flux. Most of my AMD have gone over to ERGO. That's kind of what most of like my farm is at currently right now. Thoughts from your perspective, ChumpChange, just on the fact of all of a sudden now Ethereum is a little bit more profitable. You think it's just like a little it's a little help but not long term, or what are your thoughts on it?
I mean, overall it's it is what it is. The situation sucks. It does make me want to turn some things back on because the block time is now a lot less, and obviously the rewards are a little more. Difficulty's down because a lot of people are shutting off from the the profitability, or they're selling or whatever. The Ethereum actually did not go under 1,000 today, or whatever. It got close though. It was like borderline, but it did reach $900 at one point.
Wow.
I think it was the 19th of June. So yeah. I mean, it's very intriguing to turn my stuff back on. I really want to do it, but at the same time, I don't know. That's Red Fox's fault, by the way. He decides to come back and drop like a bomb video, and now I'm like, God damn it. He always has to come back and shake stuff up,
Yeah. I'm very curious.
That video was really good.
I'm really curious to talk to him about, like, over the last few weeks, has he continued mining, like how he's dealing with heat right now? Because, like,
oh my God, I can imagine.
He's near me, and he's a few hours from me, and like it's been 90 plus, like 90 to 100 with like crazy humidity. I mean, the other day it was like 75% humidity, and it's like 90 out, like ridiculous. Like it's just like, oh my God. So I was just curious on that, and then on top of electric rates, like I don't think I've talked to him more recently about like what is your electric rate, and is it sustainable to keep mining?
Because yours is going up, right?
Mine will go up. Thankfully, I just got my bill for like the last 30 days, and it only went up by like $10, which is good because like because I'm still on that plan. And I had my ASIC miner off and on, which adds another 3,000 with a watts. So yeah, mine will go up in August 24th will be my last day on that plan, and I already have set up. So on that, probably on the day before, just to be safe, so like PPL doesn't snag it away and be like, oh, now you're on our plan, jacked up rate for that day. I'll probably swap over to the new group, which is Inspire, and that my bill will double at that point. But it's still really good. Were you on the Discord the other night, King, and we were calculating out costs with CryptoShaped, or no? It was like CryptoShaped, me, and Panda. And
I was on there.
I had like a notepad file up, and I was breaking it down on like all the costs, like before, after, and it was like even at 12. We even looked at like 12 cents, and it was just like, we're going to go from $70 to $1,200. Like, that was like, it was, I was like, wait, like, one of the things that blows my mind is like, is labor gone up? Has the cost to make that electricity generate gone up? It's like, where is this all coming from? Like, traditionally,
trying to make money.
Traditionally, when prices go up, it's a ripple effect. So it's like a supply and demand. And it's like, okay, if you're saying that like you're not making as much, like it's summertime, totally understand. But there's no like, there's not that big of a difference between last year to this year. So it's like, what is driving electric companies to go, hey, I want to take your rate and I'm going to times it by 10. It's just like, well, everyone else is raising rates, so I'm going to jump on that bandwagon for profits.
Sucks. It's so crappy, man. Like, it really is. I don't understand why my bill is like so high. It's so I shut off all my stuff, right? Just after, like, you know, everything started going to total shit with just the market just going down. And I get my bill yesterday. And it's still $2,300. I'm like, what the god damn it.
Like, yeah, it's gonna take some time.
It's like
to
because
trickle,
it was like half a month, you know, or who knows? I shut it off in the middle of the cycle, so I don't even know what a real month bill looks like with my mining stuff off ever. I still don't. Like, I was excited to see this one, and I'm like, not excited anymore. Now I got to pay $2,000 to this thing.
Like, yeah, because you're not taking it from like, because when you were previously, before our current situation with mining profits, you were cashing out to pay your electric through that. Correct?
Right. Okay. So cashing out to pay and purchase anything I needed to purchase, like all the octo miners, you know, use the Ethereum profits to do that.
Nice.
So thankfully I saved a little bit of Ethereum to be able to cover a high electric bill this month. And I'm like, well, I'm glad I did that. And I'm glad I didn't spend any of it. So that's where it's going, just to the bill. Is what it is.
Have you ever considered to do hosting yourself there, Mr. ChumpChange? I know it's hard for you to part with your rigs. I'll tell you, because it's different for me, right? Like, whenever I woke up every day, right, before like I did, you know, I went about my day, I would check on my rigs, right? I would check all the cables and everything, make sure everything's working good, and I do the same thing before I went to bed. And I guess I'm always just used to them being there, and if I have an issue, right, I could just walk into my garage and I could just, you know, fix whatever's broken, which wasn't a big deal. So I know it's going to be hard for you, but I mean, I guess from a business perspective, I think it would make more sense.
Oh, it makes 1,000% more sense. But you know, I guess you're making me admit something here. I'm a closet hoarder apparently, because I cannot get rid of my electronics. I don't know, man. Like, I wanted to sell my RX 580s and I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I'm like, damn it. Now it's like, do I trust somebody to take care of my stuff? Right. So like, my life growing up, anytime anybody borrowed anything from me, it'd come back destroyed. Like, it would never be normal. Like, you know, just for an example, my 350, right? I had a real fast 350. It did like a 13-second quarter mile. It was a strong, fast truck. My buddy borrowed it for a day, dropped me off at the airport, drove my truck home. He must have hammered it on the highway or something. And the friggin' intake, the intercooler popped off, friggin' blew a friggin' dent in my hood. Like, I came back and he tried to fix it pretty much, but it's still like a ripple in my hood. And I'm like, oh my God, dude. I'm like, you freaking ruined my truck. I'll let you borrow for a day. He's like, dude, I felt so bad. I was like crying about it all week. It's like, it's fine, dude. But that's just how I am. Like, I don't trust people with my stuff. And it's like, I don't know. It's the hard thing to do. I don't know how you guys can do it. I'm dropping stuff over here.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
No, it makes sense. I mean, I think it's a good question to go that route in that regard. I mean, you know, like, it's like, okay, what direction do you go with hosting? You know, what avenues are available to you and things like that. So, no, I mean, I do think it's definitely a challenge.
What would you do? Would you be able to do it? Like, all right, say your electric bill, or you were in my position. Do you think you'd be able to let go like that?
I think because I don't have any debt around around this hobby. So, like, if I had debt, that would be a different story. Like, a commitment that I need to make money from it, versus, like, for me, I could power everything down because, you know, I very much, you know, I bought a lot of my rigs. I paid for them with Bitcoin or Ethereum during it. So I was like, okay, cool. Like, the worst thing in the world I found was, worst and best thing was Newegg taking cryptocurrency. Oh my God. It was bad for me.
It's the death.
Cause I was like, oh, yep, bye. I think the one time I bought like 8 6600s because I'm like, yep, I'll take some of those. I'm like, yep, no problem. But yeah, so I think for me in that regard, And in my mind, it was just reinvesting. It's like I'm reinvesting, you know, type of deal.
What I did, yeah.
So I think for me, I probably wouldn't host. I think I would power down and then spend a lot of my time on like maintenance and cleanup and swapping things out and maybe a lot of tutorials on car, you know, like little stuff like that. Maybe do like, because for me, I like to tell people too, and this may apply, it depends on who you are. I'm a content creator first before I'm a miner, versus a lot of people that consume our content here are miners. And there's a few that are miners, and then it's a little bit of content creators. But for me, I'm a content creator first. So I would probably just hold on to my stuff and then find creative content to make around minimal stuff here and there. Like I got my test rig back here. So it's like, all right, cool. We're going through and we're making hash rate videos on all the new algorithms and stuff like that. And like the maintenance stuff and all that types of stuff. So yeah, so I think that would be hard. I mean, I think the real question I had a note on to ask you guys is like, how long do you think this is going to last? 6 months, a year, 2 years? Like, where is your mindset anchored at?
Personally, my mindset, like, you know, you, me, and DJ Mines had this conversation about you know, when we think this is gonna go to being like, you know, 2024 ish. And you know, the more that you hear news and all the recession coming up and all that stuff, it's like I mean, obviously it's not guaranteed, but once that happens, it's going to be panic mode for like the entire United States. And that's just how it's going to be. Like people are going to be, you know, getting foreclosed on again. It's just going to be a nightmare. I mean, look at gas prices. They're friggin' through the roof. It's just, it's insane. And I don't see it being a quick thing. It's kind of like, you know, the pandemic happened, you know, COVID. It lasted way longer than anybody thought.
Yeah, you're right.
I feel like that's what's going to happen. It's going to be like just, you know, it's just going to hit us like a ton of bricks, and it's going to stick around for a little while. It's going to just linger. You know what I mean? That's just my thought anyways. King, what do you think?
I think it'll be probably sometime before 2026.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right. Why 2026? Just curious.
I've been talking to some, you know, some financial advisors and stuff like that I deal with on a regular basis, and kind of just like crypto, the stock markets usually, when they're on a downward trend, you know what I mean, or even an upward trend, it starts before the market's actually coming back. You know what I mean? It's like it's ahead of what's happening here, and they kind of suspect. I mean, 2 years. Some of them think that the markets, even the stock markets, could come back. So, I mean, I'm hoping like 2 years, but I'm thinking maybe like 3 or 4.
So keeping that in mind, what does, as a miner, what does your expansion look like, or lack thereof? I'll ask you first, King. Like, you know, knowing that that's the case, is your goal to continue to buy cards as you can and host them, or like where's your head at this point based off of that date of 2026 for you?
I'm kind of waiting for that recession to really hit because, like I said before,
so you don't think we're in a recession yet, then, based off of that?
Yeah, I think it's going to be worse. How about that?
Okay.
I'll say I think it's going to get worse. I don't think the worst is here yet.
Okay.
But I'm waiting for it to get worse because I do plan on expanding and going big time commercial within that time, and I want pallets of GPUs.
Okay.
I am I'm doing doubling down, quadruple down, whatever you want to call it. That's just me though, you know what I mean? And
like Ethereum going away though doesn't make you nervous?
So to me, I think Flux is a good replacement. I think I'm not like really versed in ERGO, but I've been watching a lot of the hobbyist stuff lately on ERGO, and I've been learning a lot. So I think that coins that have actual like utility and actually do something, you know what I mean, compared to some of these other coins that are just there and they're only worth so much. Yeah. I think coins that have utility, especially, I'm a big fan of Flux, you know what I mean, proof of useful work and the Web3 and all that stuff. I think Flux is going to be it, at least for me, not financial advice. Just get that out there.
You know, you don't even have to say that, because I just stop saying that, because it's like, dude, you're on YouTube. Like you're listening to anyone can make a YouTube and it doesn't matter at all. I forget on that weird topic. Somebody commented the other day on like my Ravencoin Lite video from like forever ago, and they were like, Ravencoin Lite's not making anything now. It doesn't exist anymore. Like you recommended this, like blah, blah, blah. And I responded back and I'm like, why are you listening to a YouTuber about investment advice? Like, it's like, dude, you're an idiot.
Crazy.
Like, I'm sorry, guys. It's like, yeah. Well, that's good. That's good to know, King. What about you, ChumpChange? So like, if you had mentioned 2024. So like, if 2024 is where it's at, what are you doing or not doing for the next year and a half?
So at this point, I mean, buying GPUs or buying just anything for me is on hold. So I go back and I think about like 2017, you know what I mean? When Bitcoin was, hit 20 grand and then goes down to 3 grand. Okay. Yep. When I first heard about Bitcoin, it was when Bitcoin was at $3,500. And I'm like, only if I knew that I should have just bought a coin when it was $3,500, I'd be golden. So my point of attack here is to basically see where this market goes, how low it's going to go. I mean, who knows? Obviously it depends on, how many supports it hits and if it ends up leveling out, because that's usually what it does. It'll get to a bottom and then it will just level for a little bit. And once it gets to that point, I would rather just purchase the coin and support the project that way versus buying, equipment to use. Because if I buy GPUs, Ethereum's gone. Who knows if anything else is going to be that profitable? I mean, you're going to, what you're doing is spec mining. You're going to be spec mining until hopefully it booms. And
don't say that word. Spec mining's terrible. You remember like a year and a half ago?
Well,
like,
oh my God, it's the truth though. It sucks because like that's what we're all doing. We're speculating the price is going to come back. And
King's spec mining Flux right now. You're spec mining Flux that's going to blow up down the road. That's exactly what he's doing.
Well, I mean, I freaking hope it does for you. I just see, like, I'm not in that financial situation where like I could take that big of a risk because my electric's so high. If my electric wasn't high, it'd be totally different story. I'd be absolutely spec mining because I love mining. It's just financially I can't do it. And I'm not going to put myself in a hole over mining. It's not. It's more of a hobby. And yes, I get extra money, sweet, than a full-time job. You know what I mean?
Yep.
That's just my opinion on it. What do you think, Hobbyist?
So for me, I have paused buying cards. I'd say the last ones I bought were the Newegg ones with crypto. I stopped doing that about 2 months ago, maybe a little less. And part of that was I had so many projects here at home. Like the basement has 2 things left to do it. I mean, I'm sorry, the basement has about 5 grand left in cost before it's done. And my wife and I joke because we've been working on this for like 2 years. It's like, it's time to get this done. We haven't, furnishing is the last thing, but we got like a few things to do that are a little pricey, but we put that on hold to pay for the shed. Now I bought the shed like 2 months ago, like before we got into this situation, and I was waiting for it to arrive. So for me right now, it's like, okay, hardware is on hold until the shed gets built, until I can get, because like this room's maxed out. Like this room next to me, everything's off right now for recording, but it's anywhere between 100 to 109 at all times. Now, granted, it has 86 GPUs in it. It's got 10 mini ASICs in it. It's got an iPolo in it. It's got my Jazz miner in it. All my server cases, everything's in there. The only thing it's not running is my ASIC. I can't run the ASIC like in the current condition. So that room's maxed out. So I don't plan to do anything until like getting the shed up and running. That's running. This room I'm going to run minimal stuff in, open frame stuff, use some of it for storage actually, like half and half. Got to finish the basement, commitment to the wife, and then it's going to be like, okay, now where am I at? And I also need to see where electric's at in the next, 2 months or so. Like, where are we at? Like, my plan is to pull the trigger on what I need to, and my electric doubles. And as I tell people, very transparent about it, I'm like, YouTube profits per month pay for my electric bill right now, plus much more. As long as YouTube keeps paying for my electric, I'll keep my rigs up because I have no financial commitment to anything else
why
with
not?
that. It's great. As soon as, and YouTube has dipped. I mean, all content creators will tell you, YouTube is down like 1/6 of the profitability as to where it used to be because views are down. No new miners are coming into the scene. So as content creators, the new, you know, that content, you're not getting that new audience.
We're in a niche. That's
oh yeah.
You know,
I was reviewing my analytics the other day, and on majority of my videos, they are subscribe. Like we've talked about the chump change. Majority of my videos, subscribers are like 90% of the viewership. Versus go back 6 months ago, it used to be about a 50-50 split, which was great. But we're not there anymore. So the second YouTube stops the profitability to pay for my electric is when I go, okay, now I'm paying out of pocket to keep these things up and running. Now it's a little bit questionable and stuff like that. So for me, that's my plan moving forward. Like, it's all going to be month by month at this point in time. I plan to just keep hodling everything I'm doing. ETH into BTC at this point. Flux, keep that going. ERGO, keep going. You know, that's, and of course Ethereum Classic. Like, just keeping that going, because I think Flux, ERGO, and Ethereum Classic, I'd love to see after the merge, which I'm starting to get very skeptical on the merge. Like, I really think
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think it's going to drag out. I think we were naive to think it was going to happen soon, and it's just going to get dragged out over the next few years, which is really a shame, because I want to see Flux, ERGO, and Ethereum Classic. Like, the merge happens, and then those three rise together, or one pops off. Like, awesome. Like, I think we need it. I think as a community, we need to stop relying on Ethereum and start looking at multiple projects and going from there. But yeah, that's kind of my game plan over the next few months. Just, it sounds, I hate to plan, like, try not to plan after 1 month, but it's like, I'm just going to do month to month, and we'll see where things go and kind of hope for the best.
Now, let me ask you, so ETH to Bitcoin, so you're doing that on 2 miners, I assume? Is that how you're doing that?
Yeah,
now,
I have
is there a reason you're doing that? Or
I have no faith in Ethereum going back up. I think Ethereum has completely destroyed their project. Like, when you start to look at, like, they're starting to push Ethereum being considered a commodity at this point. The merge is in the pipeline. The cost of Ethereum right now, it's like, no. But all three of you, I'll ask the question: do you believe the next 5 years that Bitcoin will go up from 19,000?
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
So it's like let's be gamblers here. If you were to bet on red or black, and 99% was to go on red, you'd bet red. Like, okay, you know, versus black. That's exactly where we are. It's like, I don't know why anybody is mining Ethereum right now. It's not, you're not going to pay your electric mining Ethereum right now. Like, why are you on Ethereum? I just don't, I don't get it. So for me, I'm just doing a few of my rigs, like 6600s and stuff like that, ETC to BTC, because it's like great. Yeah. You know, or Ethereum,
they can do ETC to BTC too?
You can do ETC too. I learned this the other I learned this the other day because I posted at 2 miners, and I'm like, are you guys thinking about doing Ethereum to Bitcoin? And they're like, we actually just added that like 2 months ago. And I was like, hell yeah.
That's crazy.
That is an option out there if you're interested in going that route, especially with your older cards. Because think of it, like, if you're in a situation where you have older cards, like I got 470s, I got 570s, I got 580s, mine Ethereum Classic, convert it to Bitcoin, and you're gambling. Will Bitcoin go up? Yes. Great. If Bitcoin doubles in price over the next 5 years, you've doubled your profits on Bitcoin.
Right. So the only thing I see with that, like, I was actually looking at the 2 miners thing today, and I was like, I was thinking about doing that, just putting my Jazz miner into ETH to BTC, because why not? But I want to finish out this month first and then do that. So the only thing I see with, like, you know, the profitability when it comes to, you know, Bitcoin doubling from, say, 19,000 to, you know, to 20,000 to 40,000, right? It's a lot harder for it to go from 20 to 40 than it is for, like, a small coin to go from like $5 to like, you know, $15. And that's like, that's the only, like, reservation I have about switching everything. Cause I'm like, you know, it's either you 2x or you're 5xing, you know what I mean? When it moves like X amount of dollars. So, I mean, that's the only take I have on that. I mean, Kiing, what do you think?
Well, so it's kind of like the stocks, you know what I mean?
Right.
And I got stuff in stocks, and I use a financial advisor, and they always have like options that are, hey, like stable. This is going to go up by, you know, like a small percentage every year. It's going to get like 10% over time. It's just a small, steady versus, hey, we're going to take some of this other stuff and we're going to put it in these more risky like stocks.
High risk ones. Yeah.
Yeah. That, hey, they have, you know, high risk, but you also have high reward. So it's kind of like, what do you want? What do you want to do? Like, as far as like, it's just
spin
like,
the wheel, right?
it's
On
like,
roulette.
are you just are you using this just like to get like kind of like get rich quick? You know what I mean? And you just want that get a bunch of money at once, or is this more like you want to create like long-term generational wealth? You know, something more secure.
All right, Panda.
I mean, it's a good argument. It really is. It's a good way to look at it too, because I mean, you're either almost guaranteed to get more money, or you're taking a bigger risk. It's just, you know, again, I mean, I look at the market where things have been, like Ethereum Classic, $160 all time high. It was like $168. It was just like insane, and now it's what, $15 or something stupid. I mean, if we even see $100 again, and you hold it from now to then, that's still a huge deal. You know what I mean? So it's an argument every way. You know what I mean? What do you, God, King, what are you gonna say about that?
Well, just think about this. Back when they were mining Ethereum, there was lots of times when Ethereum, you know, watching, like, I like to watch older videos. You know what I mean? And I've watched a lot of Panda's older stuff and other miner stuff, and it was not the most profitable thing to mine. There was stuff that was way more profitable than Ethereum. So, and back then, you know what I mean? It was spec mining. You were spec mining that Ethereum was gonna be worth something, and the people who mined it and held on to it and who have bags of it, right? They made out like bandits. So you kind of have to think if it's gonna do that again, right? You're gonna take that risk if you think GPU mining's gonna do that again. Now that's why I've kind of like, I have a couple other projects, you know, with ASICs and the Helium miner, you know, branching out a little bit to try to, you know, mitigate my risk and you know, in that sense, not just put all your, you know, all your eggs in one basket, you know, in case, you know, you have failure or something.
No, that's smart. I mean, I think everybody right now is in that boat. Like, you're mining Flux, like you said earlier. You're mining Flux with the speculation that you think it's going to be the next ETH. So it's like, okay, great. Like, you know, you're hoping it goes up. So no, I think it's definitely a really smart move. Yeah, at the end of the day, crypto is gambling. Now it looks even more like gambling versus an investment. Like, you know, one could say it's an investment, but it's definitely a gamble right now, especially with electric rates, with the market. It is a huge gamble. It's hard to see people that, like, now is I love to talk to people that want to get into mining now. Very few. Right. But it's a good time to get into mining now if you're just buying hardware as a hobby. Like, dude, go buy yours. I mean, think of it. You could build a rig for like $1,000 to get you a decent rig right now. You know, you could really build some decent stuff. I mean, 3070s now are oh my gosh, it's like so minimal. So like now's a great time to buy hardware and get a rig set up and start to, quote, spec mine whatever coin you think is going to pop off in the near future. Don't expect a break even in the next year. Don't expect high profits, but you know, it's a good time to kind of speculate into a lot of different things. Right.
No, I agree 100%. It's like graphics cards. I mean, we seen what 3070s go for freaking $1,500 for Christ's sakes. Like people were paying insane amount. At the peak of the market, I paid $1,250 was the most I paid on a 3070, and it was absolutely astronomical. But again, like I just used my profits. I used all my mining profits to purchase more cards to expand as far as I could while the times were good, because I mean, I'm just a business guy. I roll everything back into the business. I'm not trying to make money here. I'm just doing it as a hobby to expand, and then I'll make money later. That's kind of the plan. But now it's just a freaking scary time, man. It's just a scary time to be buying more stuff for somebody in my situation, having to be off. I'm not going to put any more of my own personal money into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
I mean,
100%.
Fun hobby with one card, though. One card, you're building a computer anyways. Absolutely, start mining on it. Why not? You know, and then save it. That's what I would do.
Yep, I'd love to see people like get into mining now as a hobby, because I think you're coming in. If you're coming into mining right now, you're not coming in for profits. Let's be honest. Right. Versus a lot of people were getting into mining like a year and a half ago. Like when I started originally 2 Februaries ago, the market was booming. So it was like, damn, this is awesome. Like one card's making $2 to $3. Like now it's like, man, you're lucky for a whole rig to make $2 to $3. So it's like that, you know, now's a great time to come in and ride that roller coaster of like, it's going to sit like this for a while and then eventually it'll pop off down the road. So yeah, I mean, if you're on the fence to get into mining as a hobby, not as a career, but as a hobby, now's a great time. Get in, buy hardware cheap, learn, you know, kind of build up some of your bags, I think it works out well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, cool. All right, we're going to wrap things up there. I want to give Kiing the opportunity. You know, Kiing is first time on my channel, I think. So where can people go check out more of your content? As we talked about previously, you are a content creator.
God,
you got it.
You can check me out at the Mining King channel with 2 eyes in King.
Okay, awesome,
perfect.
I'll put a link. I'll put a link down below. So
edit that last part out.
There's no editing. Get out of
here. You put the pressure on them.
I know, right? Right. We'll put a link. We'll put a link down below there for you, so people can go over, check out your content, check out what's going on with you. I think, you know, it's a great time. As always, there'll be links down below for Chump Change, as we always do, which will be awesome.
Appreciate it.
Other than that, guys, from myself, Chump Change, and the Mining King, we'll see you guys next time. Take care.
Peace out.
Peace.